it a Deepwood Anomaly since we talked about it, just to see what that.
It's a great card. Every Forest Craft deck is playing it right now. You should definitely craft it.
It's a cool card. It looks so cool.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we're not going to see it in this matchup. Autoaim is going to be on his sword deck and FivePawns on his shadow deck. This is game 1 of the semifinals, determining who's going to be going on to the finals for the 4th week of the NGE Shadowverse Open.
Players are thinking a little bit about their mulligan here before they kick off Shadow versus Sword.
Really great start from Autoaim. He's going second, and he's got the Taji and Unica on the next turn as well, and a Luminous Mage in his hand as well. And a pretty decent curve from FivePawns as well. He's going to have the Catacomb being able to give a buff to at least one other follower, which is going to be real tricky, especially considering the Sergeant can now trade into the Lancer as well, giving 2 followers on the board for FivePawns.
Got ourselves in a turn 3 situation where Catacomb is installed and there's a second one waiting in the wings.
And now FivePawns has been put in a difficult position. He couldn't go for face because of the Unica. He might as well have just attacked into it and given it 1 health. And that gave Autoaim the great opportunity. And now he's got 2 attack plus the Evolved Floral Fencer. What a great curve.
Evolved Floral Fencer, and of course, going second, not super great against Shadowcraft, but those extra evolve points means that you can spend to kind of gain tempo back, and so now you have a huge Floral Fencer on the board. Cerberus to try to rectify that situation on 5. The Evolve is going to leave Cerberus at 1 if he trades into the Floral Fencer itself.
Yeah, it's a great trade. Evolved Ouroboros into Evolved Floral Fencer. We saw it earlier today. And now on next turn, Death's Breath is available. He's got just the right amount of shadows. He's got 7, needs 6. But that, of course, would it would fill his board with zombies, giving Hector what he needs to really get its full effect.
All right. What is the play in hand? Luminous Mage looking real good, but
also swing. That Cerberus is a real juicy target.
Yeah. You don't really want to be... The fact that it's at 1 health means that you really want to look for opportunities to get away with just very, very efficient trade, but I think running the Knight into it would have been a great situation if you could have gotten away with swing for 7 to face.
But now FivePawns has got a really great board to play Death's Breath on.
And that's going to slow down Autoaim a lot. So that's going to expend a lot of the shadows, slowing Hector down just a little bit.
Right.
But again, the classic issue for Swordcraft is how do you get rid of all of these cards? Okay, you got Alwidas.
That's great. Yep.
You could spend an orb.
You could, but then the Viking would be left with 2 health, and that's a great target for one of the zombies to trade into. He's going to use the Evolve point to get the extra points of health on the ward. I like that move.
Trading in. Albert for 1.
So now he's going to have to spin the skeleton and the zombie next turn.
The Viking there, yeah.
Trade into the Viking.
Pushes FivePawns up to 6 shadows.
Oh, but the zombie party, that's 3 damage right there.
Can he remove? Yeah, if he spends an Evolve, there is a way to remove.
He would get 2 zombies with Hector this turn as well. And that would be enough damage to completely clear the board.
I don't know if he can reach Albert, actually.
Well, one of the zombies would be able to trade into one of the zombies would be able to trade into the pirate, and then the other zombie and the skeleton would be able to clear off Albert.
We'll see what FivePawns decides.
Yeah. The Mortal Thane as well with Coco and Mimi. Yeah, trading the Lurching Corpse evolved into the pirate. Of course, it kills the pirate, 3 attack, and then it kills Albert. Yeah, really great play from FivePawns. I love that.
Swing into the ward, of course.
So this is the end.
Keeping Hector and Immortal Thane in his hand, as well as Coco and Mimi. He's going to use Coco, get that extra 3 damage. Autoaim sitting at 16 health.
So we see ourselves once again in a situation where, despite Autoaim's expenditure of evolution orbs. He's still having to fight really hard for board state. Luminous Mage comes at a very fortuitous time. And I think having another Luminous Mage waiting in the wings as well as Tsubaki could handle the Ector in a very clean fashion.
Right, especially
wow, so many zombie parties.
Considering that FivePawns doesn't have any more evolve points left, so Ector is really the only target in his deck that Tsubaki is really going to be able to use to have any effect against.
Take up my shield.
Take 6 damage to face. So strong. Also going to spend Mimi. Now Tsubaki can drop.
Take my blade of resentment.
He's also got
Veteran Lancer.
Yep, for another ward this turn.
Great to spend exactly 8 play points here. And a strong turn. So we're in a situation here where you're going to get to the enhanced turn. You can do 10 damage if you swing with Tsubaki and Albert. But you're out of evolution orbs. And if you had gotten to this point with an extra orb remaining, then the story would be very different.
Right. Yeah, there's no wards in the hand of FivePawns. He does have the Immortal Thane. The White King would be great against Albert, but Albert on turn 9 is going to be coming out next turn most likely.
The question is, how worth it is it to swing for face, put them at 1, and threaten a Fangblade Slayer? You know. Oh man, that pinging damage is very worrying.
They hurt so bad.
Yeah, it's tough. I think board clear is definitely the necessity here now.
Does autoaim have what he needs to effectively clear the board?
So
He
Albert
has,
can take 2,
right.
and Tsubaki can take 1.
But that's yeah. You know, you might want to use Albert to clear off the whites first, so that they do the minimum amount of damage. And Tsubaki could trade into the zombie, but
There's no way.
that leaves the White King on the field
There's
as well. And with
yeah.
Orthrus next turn, that would give the White King 6 attack. Exactly what FivePawns needs.
I think autoaim has backed himself into a corner here.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
And there were a few options. I mean, we talked about things like Aurelia as well. With Shadowcraft flooding so many followers on the board, that one drop of Aurelia would have been really handy, especially considering how many things like zombie parties were drawn. Right.
Yeah, Aurelia would have had great effect against the zombie parties. Maybe he should have been running more than one Aurelia instead of the one that he did have.
To be fair, Tsubaki was able to clear out the Ector, but now the 4 damage isn't enough to reach the
Welcome home, sir.
reach the Thane.
You and I, knight. My sword brings hope.
To the underworld.
Damage here,
It won't be long now.
leaving himself at 5 health.
Turn the power of hope to light.
Yep, not a
Yeah,
perfect play either way. Auto aim.
there it is. FivePawns will take the first game here. And autoaim finds himself in an awkward spot. So now he either has to play Swordcraft Mirrors, or he has to fight Sword with Shadow.
And that could be exactly the spot that autoaim wants to be in. Hopefully getting that Aurelia and getting really great effect out of the card.
That really is kind of the big differentiation between his Swordcraft deck and all the others.
Right.
And maybe the way that he can push ahead, but
it's a tiny variation that because there's only one in the deck and he didn't even draw it that game.
And so a lot of it is up to chance, and being down 1 game is
You must die.
not
Mother,
the ideal
father,
situation.
Come on.
Autoaim electing to go into Shadowcraft for possibly the final game of the semifinals if FivePawns is able to take it away. FivePawns sitting at a really great curve. He might not even have to mulligan. He's got the Taji, Unica, and the Trooper. Really great 1, 2, 3 right out of the gate.
Let's see. Oh, he's got the Maid Leader as well.
Another great option for the second play orb. See what this draw is for auto aim. It could be, oh, it's another Skull Beast and Zombie Party. Still, good low-cost cards. Zombie Party is great. We talk about it a lot with reference to how it can fill the board with zombies, which is, it's great enhanceability. But it's also 2 costs for 3 damage. That's really great value.
It is quite a heavy-hitting follower removal spell.
Feeling hungry.
So many cards.
That board has got to look really scary for FivePawns. He obviously assuming that auto aim could have Catacomb in his hand, which FivePawns doesn't know. So I think a board clear is definitely going to be absolutely crucial.
He's going to leave 2 up, playing a ward instead of using the Novice Trooper to clear.
And that just gives Zombie Party a prime target.
There it is. The Unica is able to clear 2 by way of trading. Board control still in hand for auto aim.
Youngling.
Geno's going to take it back. So Evolve begins here for auto aim, and of course we have to watch out for a little Soul Squasher.
I am the Mad Cyclone.
Play Grimner Evolved.
My power is uncontrollable.
And I think that's a real smart choice. The 1 damage is a little awkward for FivePawns' hand.
Also, Swing would be a great option, but of course he doesn't have that in his hand. He might have to spend the Novice Trooper here just to clear off that Grimnir.
And he couldn't even evolve it to really give it any more survivability. Would have died either way.
Oh my gosh, what an awkward hand that auto aim has to deal with.
3 Soul Squashers. Gonna play 2 of them. It's gonna leave 1 to remove 1 evolved unit, but definitely not the ideal draw.
No, especially when there's Luminous Mage in the hand for FivePawns coming out next turn possibly, or he could draw an Albert or an Alweda's Command. This just turned massively in the favor of FivePawns.
Yeah, and really in the situation where you play Luminous Mage, you could actually evolve the Knight and trade both the leader as well as the Knight into the 2 Soul Squashers, and the last Soul Squasher doesn't even have a job.
Shining Paladins, attack!
I think that's going to be the choice.
Yep.
There's not even anything to remove, and the Luminous Mage remains to provide its effect.
Yeah, there's only 2 cards in the hand of auto aim. He did draw Goblin Princess. Great card there.
Evolve and trade?
Definitely want to trade. Don't want to leave that mage on the field. It still retains its ability of being able to evolve commanders for free.
Now you're at a turn where you can technically play Maid Leader and Luminous Mage, but he's going to draw Albert instead. This is kind of an awkward situation.
Yeah, real scary. You don't want to leave that board out, but having Albert, it feels so good to go for face. He's going to have to make a tough choice. Also giving, well, the Goblin Princess already has a target to get the Goblin King in the hand of auto aim. He could just attack the Maid Leader next turn.
Prepare for battle.
He's going to play Albert.
It won't be long
Spend the
now.
Evolve on the Maid Leader
Our warmest smiles.
into the Goblin.
Fall back!
So now a 5/5 ward is ready to be dropped. And the fact that FivePawns has a Fangblade Slayer sitting and waiting is actually really great.
Right. Yeah, saving that card for when it can deal 5 damage, destroy any follower, or 3 damage unevolved. There is a Shadow Reaper in the hand of auto aim. With this full board that he has next turn, that Reaper could be absolutely massive.
Apologies, sir.
And all his cards are at such low health, reduce the evolved zombie there down to 1 health as well, so a lot of opportunity to trade.
Yeah, there's not really an answer that FivePawns has in his hand to deal with this board that's full of zombies in the evolved Goblin. Even if he does use his last evolve point to deal some extra damage with Fangblade, Little Soul Squasher, of course, is going to be able to take that out handily.
Yeah. Very, very interesting situation here.
Yeah, and both players.
If he were to take a risk and try to play around Soul Squasher, that's actually tough because he's already seen 2. The math would dictate that it's unlikely that he would have a 3rd. So that might tempt them to try to get that evolve down to give the Fangblade Slayer a little more health.
Yeah, you're right.
The 1/1 to trade into 4/1 plus the Tsubaki down. I think he's just going to need to take one more turn of damage before trying to find footing in kind of a top deck or play his Fangblade afterwards.
It all
Right.
ends here.
Because, of course, Hector could be coming out of the top deck for auto aim.
So he's going to evolve to be able to take down one more source of damage, trying to mitigate as much as he can. And if the Goblin King gets played here, then Fangblade Slayer can actually still get a lot of value just by removing that ward. And I think it's not too bad. Spending the evolve on the Unsheath means that Soul Squasher is not really that relevant anymore, but Death's Breath to set up a good wall.
Fangblade, of course, the card that can chew through that wall
Mm-hmm.
quite effectively, but getting rid of the wall is just going to be buffing up the Shadow Reaper.
Yeah.
This card has such a great synergy with this mid-range Shadow deck that we see so much of.
So the Shadow Reaper could swing for up to 6 while getting good job done clearing the board. Probably wants to just take out the Tsubaki.
That Evolved Goblin has been on the field for quite a few turns, getting massive value.
Yeah, this is a tough situation. There's so many great options left in Shadowcraft's hand. Getting into the late game as well, FivePawns is just drawing one at a time. He really needs heavy-hitting cards turn after turn after turn. And the fact that he dropped that, he drew that Novice Trooper might have been the nail in the coffin. Very likely for it to have been.
Could have been. It's not. Obviously, it's it's not going to give him a great option for turn 10, which is finally coming up.
I mean, it could so happen that he gets some great board clear. Something like Alwida's and Novice Trooper with 2 Storms and a ward could really tide him over. But even then, that Soul Reaper is just getting stronger and stronger. And the great tragedy here is in taking out that last ward means that the Soul Reaper will trade out because it gets 6 damage with the Fangblade Slayer rather than...
There's a Grimnir.
Oh my god, but
It's going to keep the Thane and the Soul Reaper alive with 1 health.
And then the Fangblade can trade the Soul Reaper.
Right.
I think that's smart.
But then there's the Goblin King and the 0-cost white that's going to be in the hand of auto aim. Real tough
Look how
wards.
strong this guy's going to get. Oh my god. Fangblade. That's definitely value. He was going to die anyways no matter how you cut it, so the Grimnir down was a perfect choice.
Yeah, buffing up the Shadow Reaper there didn't even matter.
Oh, Canico.
And now Goblin King and Catagon can be played on the same turn, but that is going to be
And at 5 health, that's so valuable.
Yeah, that's going to be his whole hand if he chooses to do that.
I mean, what options, really what downside is there to playing that, right, for auto aim?
Right, you know that your opponent only has 1 card that he hasn't played yet. He drew it a few turns ago, I suppose. So it's tough. It's
Before he just repeatedly draws Grimnirs back to back. Oh my god, and the White King.
man. Oh my gosh, auto aim could take this.
Ugh.
Whole soul swing. It looks like.
It's not going to be enough.
Don't think so.
And it looks like auto aim is going to fight back and take 1-1 here. So
Auto-aim,
it
yeah,
comes down to Swordcraft mirrors, which we talked a little bit with Mofu about. Swordcraft mirrors start to get real tricky.
Yep.
Auto aim is not quite out of this yet. Will the draw be favorable? Will the Aurelia make a difference?
Will
Will
the
it even
players choose to go for control or go for aggro at certain points of the game? Those
Yeah.
decisions are going to be what decides the fate of this game and who goes to the finals.
It really comes down to how you make the read. Do you feel like you have a more aggressive hand than your opponent? Do you feel like you have better late game options?
You must die. Stand back.
That's
I
right,
have
both
this
players
covered.
running similar deck compositions. And ironically, having 2 of the same cards on this first mulligan.
Ooh.
Definitely don't want that Tsubaki this early in the game.
So, Luminous Mage, I believe, goes up to 4/5. The only thing is an evolved Albert. But that's real tough as well. I mean, you're not going to regret having Tsubaki, but an evolved Albert typically gains his value right on the turn he's played.
Right.
So being able to play Tsubaki on your turn is already kind of late, 1 step behind.
There is a floor fencer in the hand for auto aim. He's going second. He's going to get great value out of that. A full board of 3 followers. Keep
in mind that auto aim as well is the one that has the Aurelia, so possibly another moment to buy back board space in the middle of the match here.
どうして勝てない
Interesting choice to get rid of the other Taji right there instead of going for face. Another one comes out of the hands of FivePawns.
Earns 2 damage in 2 turns.
Leave it to me.
There is the Trooper in the hand. That'll get rid of the ward. And another 1 bit of damage that FivePawns is able to squeeze out of these early turns. And FivePawns taking a little bit of an early victory here. Really getting the small little advantages.
Lots of good chip damage, and now FivePawns has a Floral Fencer of his own, of course. Going first, cannot evolve first.
I am the Mad Cyclone.
And he's going to have to end his turn here, leaving auto-aim with a great Floral Fencer play.
Strength and beauty together.
Going to be able to trade into the Grimnir, destroy it, and get rid of the Taji as well, while keeping his board full with 4 followers.
My loyalty is ironclad.
And how that really hurts in this situation is
Ow!
FivePawns is not really going to have the flexibility to clear as much as autoaim did, because there's no cards existing on board right now.
Right. He does have the Luminous Mage.
Strength and beauty together. You're done for.
Only
Guess
go
you-
for the ward.
Yeah, he wants to get his board just a little bit fuller, a
Loyalty
little bit
is
more full.
ironclad. Ow!
Okay,
There's
5.
a lot of damage on the table here.
Yeah.
Got 7 with a rush. Could do 12.
Could have a ward as well. He wants to play the Lancer.
My armor has been pierced.
Ah!
Going for control again, auto-aim.
My armor.
We'll see if it's able to pay off in the later game. He's keeping a pretty full board, getting really great value out of his cards, attacking multiple times.
You and I, knight. My sword brings hope. It won't
So
be
only
long
one of
now.
these cards can be eliminated
Turn
here.
The power of hope to light.
The good thing is that the Luminous Mage is going to survive with 1.
That's definitely very good. Trading into the Jay Leno so that it can't be evolved next turn. The Floral Fencer has already been evolved. But there's an Alwida in the hands of auto-aim as well.
Yep.
You're safe with me, Captain. It won't be long
Going to
now.
evolve to try to keep that card alive.
Away with you,
And I think
Servant
extending
Dog.
the value here is going to be really important.
Take up my shield.
Absolutely.
His face doesn't want to lose either of those cards. And now auto-aim is kind of catching up. Ooh, Dance of Death.
Real tricky that card. He does have 7 orbs, so he could Dance of Death, Lancer as well, if he wanted to do that. Tsubaki, not the choice in this case. Too bad. He's really saving that for an evolved Albert, if he can, I think, or an evolved Fangblade Slayer.
Health level is so important in this race right now, just because of the immediacy that comes with Albert and Fangblade Slayer in turn 8s and turn 9s and beyond.
It all ends here.
Full clear here, left with the Veteran Lancer.
I failed you, my Jarl.
There's another opportunity for Geno to show off. Oh man, and drawing into
Another Luminous Mage as well.
My sword brings hope.
it's going to be the mage itself, surviving with 1 health,
Turn the
saving
power
the
of hope
evolution
to light.
opportunity for the knight as well if he wants to push like
Retreat.
a little bit of face damage.
Fangblade would be a great choice in this instance. Being left with 6 health, that's going to be real tough for auto-aim to chew through. He's going to have to get rid of his mage and his knight to get rid of that off the field.
He's got free evolves,
But he, of course, he does have a Fangblade Slayer of his own and an Albert.
so he could set up. If he tries to swing face, he's risking that there's no Albert in hand for FivePawns, which I don't think is a choice that you will make in a Swordcraft mirror.
No, I definitely don't think that's
You should not assume that Albert is not in hand.
What does it mean?
He has Storm on the Katana.
Could leave Fangblade Slayer up, go for face with Albert, evolved if he wanted to.
Oh, it might just be off. He has 1, 5, 8, 10, 12.
Mm.
Oh my god. Was it the preemptive GG?
You are done for.
Did I do the? Oh, he gets a buff.
Oh,
Of
he
course, I
gets a
did the
buff, of
math
course.
wrong.
Yeah.
Attack!
Yeah, we both did. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's really off the strength of kind of. Oh no. Yeah,
An
because he had multiple
exemplary
cards. So the big thing is the Luminous Knight only gets 1 extra damage when it evolves.
Right.
But it has the effect of buffing up the cards aside from you.
Mhm.
So if you have multiple cards, it kind of scales,
And
right?
with Albert and Taji with Storm, I mean, that was absolutely the